Hello, I'm back for my second video for my video blog, which I've just started up, and just going to talk about a few things that have really got to me in the past 2-3 days, I think it is, since my last video. The first one being this story about a 15-year-old schoolboy that was murdered in Victoria Station in broad daylight. I can't believe it, man. It's mind-blowing. Reading it off the BBC News website, post a link in the info bar, which is just down there. It says a 15-year-old schoolboy was killed in a merciless knife attack planned on Facebook during rush hour at London's Victoria Station, the Old Bailey heard. The fact it was planned on Facebook is just astonishing. I mean, I know that Facebook as an organisation probably shouldn't and legally should not be looking at everyone's Facebook, but surely there's someone overseeing this, because I can't imagine they've just posted it on people's walls as a public thing, like, yeah, let's go to Victoria Station, let's go murder another school kid from a neighbouring school. Surely, like, Facebook could have noticed this in private messages, and they just could have like had a say in something. They could have mentioned something that it was being planned. It's not even like they hid the fact either. I mean, it says here the school kid that got murdered was confronted by a group with a sword at Victoria Station. I mean, a group of school kids with a sword at Victoria Station now. What? It says he was then chased into the tube station before being stabbed 9 times, including to the lung and chest. CCTV footage was shown to jurors of him being set upon and left lying on the floor. Also, it says here, on the day of the attack, 2 defendants were said to have left school to buy a $3.99 block of knives from Argos. I find it hard to imagine that I'll be the only person that finds this chilling. Like, it gives the youth a bad name, and I'm not saying the youth are perfect. We've all got our flaws. I grew up in a generation where Damilola Taylor got killed with the broken bottle. We all got tired with the same brush hour where the youth were just a bunch of useless thugs. We just go out and like terrorise people. I know quite a lot of people my age. They don't cause harm to anybody. If anything, they've got amazing skills. Like my mate, who is an absolutely astonishing guitarist. I'll play guitar as well. Hopefully I'll upload a few videos of me playing. But this guy is just incredible. Comes up with the most amazing stuff. He learns stuff quickly. I look up to him. It is just incredible. Also, a kid that went to my school, he had a voice that would put everyone that joins X Factor to shame. Like, even in the charts, this kid had one hell of a voice. The kid is just amazing. If you want to have a listen to them, I'll post the link to their Facebook page here. Just click on the link. If you want to get to the link after watching the video, I'll put it down in the information bar. It's just demoralising, man, because the youth, there's a lot of good to come from this youth. I mean, you only ever hear about the bad things. You never hear about the good things. It really is heartbreaking because they've got so much to live for, yet they choose to go down a life of crime, and it's terrible. Next thing that a lot of people seem to be talking about at the moment is this sexism row in football. Now, what's happened is Andy Gray and Richard Keys, who are sports commentators for Sky Sports, have been caught with their mics still on, talking about a female linesman in a demeaning manner. Now, from what I understand, the suspension they both got, where they were talking about, oh, someone should go and teach her the offside rule and so on and so forth, that little bit of the clip, as far as I'm aware, was what they were suspended for, not what they were sacked for. The sacking of Andy Gray, I totally agree with, because from what I understand from the stories I've read, is he got sacked because they were setting up for recording, and obviously where you've got the sound guys coming around putting the mics on everyone, he's turned to, I think her name's Charlotte Jackson, who's the female presenter on Sky Sports News. He's turned to her and he's gone, do you mind putting the mic down here, love? And now, I fully agree with the sacking for that. I mean, you can't do that in any workplace. It's just totally disrespectful, if I'm honest with you. What's happened to Richard Keys now? He's obviously been silent for a few days, but obviously where more tapes have been leaked about what he's been saying, the whole conversation with him and Jamie, I think it's Jamie Redknapp. Jamie Redknapp speaking to another presenter at a football match, and obviously they think they're off air and they're not mic'd up. And Richard Keys has turned around and gone, would you smash it? Yeah, it was wrong, but I'm not afraid to admit, when I go out with friends, you do make the comments when you go out to clubs or bars, and you're like, yeah, she'd get it. I mean, this could have been dealt with behind closed doors, I think. But also I read something that made me think. A lot of people have probably mentioned this. You've probably heard of a program called Loose Women. That show is extremely sexist. I mean, on that show, men get slated for everything. There's always going to be sexist jokes flying around, but you can't say on one hand, this man's done wrong for insulting a woman, and then let the women on Loose Women who just sit there and they just throw not so much insults, but it's just degrading about men, really. Now moving on to a little bit of light-hearted news, as it's been a little bit serious up to now. Now, I can't imagine there's many people over in England that would hear about this story, but if I have anybody that watches me in America, one, I'd be amazed, and two, you probably have read or heard about this story. It's the story about a Chicago car salesman who was fired because he wore a Green Bay Packers tie to work. Now, obviously, the Green Bay Packers beat the Chicago Bears. I think it's in the NFL playoffs, so they're going through to the Super Bowl. What makes this story worse, I've literally just found this out looking on the website now, is he wore it because his grandma was a Packers fan who had recently died and was buried 2 days before her beloved team's NFC Championship game matchup with the Chicago Bears. Now, I've heard of some stupid reasons for sacking people, but that is one stupid reason. I mean, sacking a guy because he wore the opposing team's tie to work. I'd like to imagine if that happened in England at any workplace, it would just be a bit of banter, like your boss wouldn't fire you. Surely the geezer had a sense of humour. I've heard of die-hard fans before, but to sack someone just because he wore the opposing team's tie? Jesus, that man is serious. I'm hoping the guy does get another job, and obviously his bosses are a little bit more understanding. My question for you today, which is aimed at people who live in England or who follow the Premier League, who do you think is going to win the Premiership this year? Do you reckon United will continue on their unbeaten streak? Do you reckon it's Arsenal's year this year? Or do you reckon Tottenham could really break into the Big Four this season and push everyone? Obviously Chelsea still aren't out of it, so do you reckon they've still got a shot? Let me know by leaving comments in the comment section below, a comment on my Facebook, or even leaving a tweet. All my links are in the profile bit on my YouTube page. Looking forward to hearing your answers to the question. Quick thing before I go, I'm going to leave a few links to a few videos I've been watching recently, which have just amazed me beyond belief. I mean, some of the things you find on YouTube are actually amazing. I'll leave the links in the info bar. I hope one of them does go viral, because what this man does is unbelievable. But yeah, any weird stories that you come across, send me a link via my Facebook, or even tweet it to me. I'm always up for reading weird and wonderful stories. Yeah, look forward to hearing from you, and I'll see you soon.